Hello and welcome to the shed. In today's video we're going to be looking at saws. Back saws, panel saws, frame saws. Hope you enjoy. So when it comes to back saws or your joinery saws, there's a lot of different options. Now every single one of these back saws I own is actually in the rip cut. I don't actually have a single back saw that's in cross cut because I find that my saws are fine enough that they're going to do a fairly fine shoulder, and to be honest, 99% of the time I've used a knife line and I'm going to be using a shooting board where possible, so I don't find that I really need the extra cross-cut teeth. Obviously I picked up a whole different host of types of back saws here. I've got fine dovetail saws here. This one's a Lee Nielsen. I have the gent saws here, Pax. This one is Greaves & Sons, or Lynx, I believe, owns that brand. This is a vintage one here. These are the Spear & Jackson inexpensive ones, which are actually really easy to set up. I'll show you the whole link to that video of these ones. You can get an entire nice set of the Spear & Jacksons, quite inexpensive. And then I've got this one here, which is a Robert Lee, which is a Dorchester one, which is owned by the Thomas Finn Company. So you have a wide variety of availability in these. Then we move into panel saws. Now, with the back saws, I recommend you go brand new because you have all sorts of issues with your back saws. The vintage ones can be really expensive, so I think brand new. Some of the vintage ones that I've seen are more expensive than even a Lee Nielsen dovetail saw, so do be careful with them. I think new Spear & Jacksons is probably the best way to go. Or in the gent saws, something like the Pax ones and something like that are not bad options. But in panel saws, vintage, you're going to get a lot of vintage ones. They're going to be fairly easy to fix up, most of them, or you want to look for ones that have got nothing real wrong with their teeth. You convert them from cross-cut to rip-cut and whatever, and yeah, there's a whole host of different vintage ones out there, and you can get really good quality saws there. If you can't, Spear & Jackson once again makes a good panel saw, and I can't really fault their panel saws. They work fantastic. They do have riveted handles, and the handle's not the most comfortable, but you can reshape the handle, so that's an option, and that's what I use with panel saws. And then framed saws. So we'll go to the most obvious frame saw, which is just the coping saw. This is just the standard made in Australia, I think Spear & Jackson thing. Yeah, all sorts. You can get them in Stanley and all these brands. There's newer designs with bigger, heavier frames. I've not used any of them, so if any of you have used them, do leave them down below. I don't know if they work any better than these. And then you have various sized frame saws as options that you can have in the Traveller's kit. These are not a bad option because you can take them apart, knock them down, and they fit into quite a small area, and then you've got a much larger turning saw for anything you might need to do in the field. Vintage for these, or make your own. I'm planning to make my own one of these coming up later this year, so do stay tuned for that. But for now, like, this is based on the Marples design, but it's homemade. This one's homemade as well, so do look around, see what you can find. And then the last saw that can be important in a kit is a flush cut saw. This one's, I keep in its plastic because it's a little fine Japanese flush cut saw. No set on it, really sharp teeth, and these are one of the only Japanese saws that I actually like, and they're great for flush cutting, and they do a really good job. It's a very super flexible blade on it, but the teeth are tiny. I didn't want to break them off, so it actually stays in the plastic, and if I stored it, it would, or I'd have to make some sort of a housing to store it in. So yeah, flush cut saw. Doesn't have to be one of these Japanese ones. Any flush cut saw. It's a saw without set on it, for cutting off flush dowels and things like that you might use. So that rounds up the saws that I use. It's enough of me talking about saws. I will leave links to some of the stuff down below. Some of the new ones I can link to. The vintage ones obviously I can't, but I will link to what I can. And I'd love you all to sound off in the comment section down here and let me know what saws you use, what types of saws, Whether you think you need full-size tenon saws or smaller saws, do unload down below, because I'm eager to find out what you'll use and to help everyone else out. So while you're down there, hit the thumbs up if you like the video, hit the red subscribe button, hit the bell, select all notifications so you don't miss out on any of these great videos I'm making for you. And if you're interested in seeing the Traveler's Toolkit that this video is spurred on to give you various options, you can find that right here. Bye for now.